Hi, I'm back. Let's go into Sentry's driving tools and see how I use them. This video will focus on the Android version of Sentry. The iPhone version is very similar with minor differences in the human interface. Yes, it's a scrolling view. People with smaller format screens may need to scroll to access all the options. The difference between the journaling tools and the thriving tools is that the thriving tools tend to be forward-looking, targeted things you're going to do and things you want to achieve. We'll start with the prioritization and daily goals features because they were some of the first tools I created. The prioritization tool is what I use every now and then to help prioritize my tasks. I use the drop-down list to select the skimmies for either work or home. I have 5 categories: immediate, high, medium, low, and do not work. I use this when feeling overwhelmed by all the tasks in my queue. Immediate is always safety related and nothing else. I just don't think I'd trade anything for safety. The examples are mine and probably not very applicable to you. Note that I have only used this for work, but I retain a home option because someday I just might use it. To edit a category, either double tap within the text view or select Customize associated with that category. That kicks me into the same editor I use throughout the app. Let's return and look at daily goals. I use this, daily. It helps me focus on the important stuff. I identify things to accomplish, something for pleasure, something to learn, something to improve, and something to communicate. I don't have any examples in here because it changes daily. It's not quite as static as the other tools. Note that this window works differently than the others. Either double tap in a blank area or select Edit from the Options menu to get into edit mode. Once in edit mode, this window stays in edit mode until I exit this window. In edit mode, I just touch the text box I want to edit. Note how the border changes on the active text box, going from yellow to blue. I have to save before exiting to save my changes. I can do that via the save icon at the bottom of the page. The remaining tools all function in a very similar manner to the journaling tools. Let's start with the Ideal Self tool. This is a single window tool, much like the Observations and Essays tools in the Journaling Tools section of this, and has a drop-down list and one main window for text entry. I use the Ideal Self tool to identify something I want to achieve. Basically, I want to create a positive destination and set my focus toward that. The drop-down list has the Ideal Self entries. To add, I select the plus icon at the bottom of the page, or from the Options menu, I select Add. I enter a title, and then text for the Ideal Self. This is usually not a one-shot deal. I typically update the Ideal Self multiple times to capture what I really want to achieve. Once again, the Options menu offers multiple options such as editing the title and hints. Now let's look at the task timer. This is a 2-window view, but it's a little more complex than the 2-window views in the Journaling Tools section. I use this tool to track my thoughts related to how long tasks actually take. I have a tendency to predict things taking all my time or my whole day, which is rarely true. Looking at the screen, there's a drop-down list on top, a predicted time view, a start-stop button, a text view to record what you plan to accomplish, an actual time view, and a text view to record what actually accomplished. To add an entry, either tap the plus icon or select Add from the Options menu. You'll be prompted for a title. Enter a title and save, and then to identify what you plan to accomplish. Enter the text and save. You'll be back where you started, only on this new entry. To enter the predicted time for this entry, tap the predicted time view and a time picker will appear. Set the duration, hours and minutes, and tap Done. When you're ready to start the task, tap the Start button. The text on the button will toggle and display stop. When you're done with the task, tap the stop button. The text will toggle to start. The actual time will be computed automatically and displayed in the actual time view. You can then record what you actually accomplished in the I actually accomplished text view. To add that text, you can either tap the associated Customize button or double tap in the text view. I tapped stop and the thing stopped, but it didn't record any actual time because it took less than a minute. This thing's only going to record hours and minutes. Some things to note. You can exit the app while performing your task. When you come back to the view, and specifically this entry, the Start-Stop button will still display stop. The duration of the task will be computed based on the time difference between when you tap Start and when you tap Stop. If subsequently you hit Start again, this timer will begin timing, and the time between that start and the next stop will be added to the existing time. This is handy when you need to interrupt the task and resume it at a later time. Finally, we'll look at the Event Prep tool. And this is a 3-window tool and is similar to the Auto Thoughts tool in the Journaling Tools section. I use the Event Prep tool to prepare for upcoming events and the associated thoughts that distress me. I identify what happened in the past and then identify how I would like things to go this upcoming time. After the event, I identify how things actually went and mitigation techniques that may have helped at that time and in the future. I use the drop-down list to select an existing event I want to review. To add an item, I usually tap the plus icon at the bottom of the page. I can also select Add from the Options menu. I then enter a title and select Save. A window to enter text describing my past experience appears, in which I'll enter that text and then save. And then a window to enter the text about how I'd like to be appears. I enter the text and save. That's it for our new entry. I'm back to where I started, only on the new event. I enter the text for what actually happened after the event. If I don't like the title, I can edit via the Options menu. Any of the text entries can be re-edited by selecting either Customize or double tapping in the text area. For me, this is not a one-pass entry. I find myself editing and modifying these entries quite often as I learn more about myself and gain more experiences. This edit function is the same edit function used throughout the app. Most of these tools have examples, which I included to show how I use the app and nothing more. I also provide plenty of hints via the Options menu. I built this app to help people currently in therapy, which is why I recommend including your therapist when trying to decide where to begin. This video focused on the Thriving tools and how I use them. I created these tools to help myself function a bit better, mostly during stressful times. If you've watched the other videos, then that's about it for getting to know Mood Sentry. There's more to this set of tools than has been covered in these videos, but if you are interested in trying Mood Sentry out, these videos should get you started. And remember to check out the Options menu and Hints page on every page. Good luck.